Now more than ever, African millennials have to make the right decisions when it comes to money and spending. With a lot of countries like Nigeria in a recession, cost of living is going up significantly whilst incomes are staying pretty much the same. Our topic for today is smart money, smart choices, and we have with us the beautiful Arese Ugwu, the founder of smartmoneyafrica.org, a personal finance platform for African millennials. My name is Omilola Oshikoya. Welcome to the Heart of the Matter.
These things sometimes are psychology.
I said that the financial cost as one of the many reasons was enormous.
It was a God experience. I just wanted to find God.
Simply feeling like you're inspired isn't always so.
Tell us about the solution.
As one
People
of
with
many
18 to 35 years of age, how did it work?
Hey, I don't have the skill for this particular problem to solve this particular problem.
None of us talked about the bread seller.
Welcome back to the Heart of the Matter, and we have with us the beautiful Arese Ugwu, founder of smartmoneyafrica.org. Arese, thank you for coming to the Heart of the Matter. Welcome. Finally.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Finally, we are sort of
I know, right?
together. Okay, so personal finance, there's like so many topics, so many things we can talk about. But I think the idea of this episode is basically to encourage our viewers that are watching, exactly. A lot of people now, especially in Nigeria, there's a recession. They're thinking, everything is going up, cost of living, and their incomes are staying pretty much the same. And they're like, you want me to save in this economy? Are you joking? But what should people be doing now?
Do you know, the thing is, I think the idea is also understanding, that the fact that, okay, yes, we're in a recession and inflation is almost 18%. So that means not only has your income stayed the same, things are actually more expensive now.
Significantly,
and the thing is, people think that saving, I think in this part of the world, we look at saving as an afterthought. It's an afterthought, so after I finished, paying all my bills or, meeting up with my financial obligations, then I can save what is left. But the way wealthy people think is you save and invest first before you start to spend. So the idea is to put aside, and I know people are going to be like, really, 20% of your income towards saving and investments, before you even start to spend. So for example, if you earn 100,000 naira, you pretend that you earn 80,000 naira.
Exactly.
And I know it sounds crazy, but think broke. And if you think, oh, it's not enough, do you know how much, things cost in Nigeria or Lagos or whatever? Just think about someone who actually earns 80,000 naira. How do they live? Where do they live? What kind of car do they drive? What are their bills like? What kind of schools do their kids go to? You need to start to think like that, because if you don't save and invest, your tomorrow will never be better than your today.
So it's pretty much a mindset thing.
It is a mindset thing. And even in this harsh economy, it has become even more important to save and invest.
So are there any new ways to save, or do the old ways still work? So
I think that the wealth lessons are still the same. It's just about discipline. It's just about, a mindset shift, like you said, because typically, especially women, we become a revolving door for our money. The money comes in and it goes out. It comes in and it goes out. And we always have this, mentality oh, it's not enough. And, when I hit or when I make money or when things get better, I will save and invest. But it doesn't work like that. What if you don't make more money? As in, what if, things get even worse? If you are a revolving door for your money and you're living from paycheck to paycheck, your tomorrow is never going to be better than your today. So the idea is, yes, things are tough, but it's time for us to get even more, creative in our thinking. How can I make more money? How can I improve my earning potential? What skill sets do I have that I can apply to the opportunities, that are around me? So I've been saying to a lot of people since that, listen, we spend so much time complaining, but I'm a huge believer in the fact that in a recession or after a recession, a new crop of billionaires are going to arise.
Honestly, I think it's so funny because you find that there are two categories of people, in my opinion. There are those that complain, and you find that even when there wasn't a recession, when we're prosperous and stuff, they still had those issues. But then you find the people that are constantly looking for opportunities.
Yep.
People are building. I have a friend, she's taking this opportunity and she's now building her own factory in Nigeria. And obviously, even now is a good time to buy land. Yeah. So she's bought land.
Because assets are grossly undervalued.
Exactly.
So buy things at a discount.
Discount. So she's bought land and she's building her factory. So prior to this, she used to import her products that she used to sell, but now she's thinking, okay, it makes sense. We're all all about proudly Nigerian, made in Nigeria goods, and she's doing it here. So at the end of the day, her business is growing. So after the recession, when people have more disposable income, money to spend, where are they going to go to?
Exactly. This is the time to build. This is the time to get creative about how you make money. This is the time to solve problems because, like I was saying, I think that after this recession, we're going to look around and there'll be a new crop of billionaires and we'll be asking,
how did they do
it? But those were the people who, when the rest of us were complaining, they were solving problems. They were finding problems to solve and adding value. And when you can add value, that equals more money. So I think that is it time for people to say, listen, what do I complain about to my friends, to my family? How can I break those problems down into little tasks? And what kind of skills do I have that can solve those problems? Once you can solve a problem and create value, you are golden.
So let's even talk about some of those opportunities. So, even before the recession, Nigeria, we're a country where the entrepreneur's dream, we're filled with so many problems. So let's look at waste. You go around, you're thinking, oh, everywhere is dirty, smelly, there's, refuse. But you can actually make money from recycling. So you take some of those, you take bottles, sort the waste out, and companies actually buy those bottles.
There are people who are starting businesses like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Go to the grocery stores. A lot of the things are not available now. You find that you go in, we can't import because it's so expensive. Even the things, I remember the other day I went to buy mosquito spray and I was in shock.
How much it was?
Honestly, brown rice from 800 naira is now 1,200 naira. Do you understand? So these are opportunities. People can say, you know what, okay, I know someone in particular, she bakes cakes. It's difficult to buy butter now, it's expensive, or margarine. And then she started thinking of how she's going to make her own margarine and begin to sell
to other people.
So I think there are just so many opportunities now. I know you even talk a lot about the internet.
Yeah.
And how,
and how you can use social media to sort of build your business and build a platform. I think things have become harder, but they've also become easier. We don't realize it, but there's so many people who, some of us, we use Instagram to, take pictures. There's some people cashing in on social media. I recently published a book called The Smart Money Woman.
Yay,
An African Girl's Journey to Financial Freedom. And, what was so amazing to me was the overwhelming support that I got from my audience. And, everybody kept asking me, Arese, why is it doing so well? How are you going? I'm on a book tour at the moment. I just got back from Uyo yesterday. And, how come you're going to all these different places that you've never been to before, but then there's still people who will come to support you, to see you, to talk to you, to buy the book. And it has been the power of social media, Instagram. Literally, I walk into my hotel in Uyo. It's a new hotel. I've never been to Uyo before. And I had just, after the airport, because I'm a foodie, I had stopped at a restaurant to eat afang. Okay. And I posted a picture of the afang on Instagram. I walk into my hotel and the receptionist goes, did you enjoy your food? I was like, huh? She was like, oh, you're finished eating. Did you enjoy your afang? I was so confused. Then she was like, I follow you on Instagram. I've never been to Uyo before. Like, she was so super nice to me. Like, the people who hosted me were like so welcoming, so, you know, engaged. They were telling me their own experiences, you know, with the book, with the characters in the book. And it can only be social media. It breaks down those geographical barriers, so you don't have to physically, you know, be in a place to connect with people. Yes, it's the new way we interact with our clients, the new way we sell our markets. You know, the way it's not even about friends or you know whatever anymore. It's about you can use that platform to build a business.
And even, I mean, some people are so good at it and good at it for their own personal reasons, but even multinationals, companies, I heard of a lady who has resigned now, and she used to work in a financial institution. She's resigned and she started a business where she then manages social media accounts for all the top financial institutions. So if you're so good at you know, you can actually, people will pay you for that. Do you understand? So I think it's, like you said, it's just a mindset thing, but we need to go on a quick break, so we'll continue after the break.
Okay.
Viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to the heart of the matter. We're still talking about smart money, smart choices. Okay, so one of your blog posts, how to save when the bills won't stop. So I'm going to read one of your quotes. It says, what is a bill, I beg? I'm curious. I've overheard a lot of conversations in the last year where usually someone with no real responsibility, complains about how their bills keep piling up so they can't save. When you ask them what said bills are, they reel off a list of things that sound like consumption choices. A bill, in my opinion, has always meant something that is a necessity and has serious consequences if it's not paid. Can you please expatiate on that?
It's so funny. Like, it's always so weird to me, like, when people read my own, like, articles back to me. But yeah, I think that a lot of people don't realize that even if you're the richest man in Africa, your resources are limited, which means that you have to make choices. And you need to be able to allocate your limited resources in a very efficient, you know, manner, especially in these hard times. So the first step to doing that is articulating the goals that you want for your life. I find that a lot of people do not understand what they want the money that they earn to do for them. So they can't articulate what the money that they want, that they earn,
can do for them. Literally,
exactly.
Money is just there, and it just
we
comes
spend
and
mindlessly. Like, so it's like, oh, it's just 10K here, it's just 20K here, it's just 5K here. But I find that once you know what you want your money to do, like when you have set goals, I want to invest, I want to go on holiday, I want to pay off my debt. Like, if you set goals for yourself, when all those other things come, you are like, I can't afford this. So I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and we were talking about a wedding. We were talking about Ashwebi. And she was like, you know, you're really annoying. Because I said to someone who was an acquaintance that, I'm sorry, I can't afford, you know, the Ashwebi. And she was like, how can you say that you can't afford it? Like, just
counting your money from your
you know, like, and I was like, it's 35K, and this is Lagos. Let's calculate.
You saw it.
You saw it, so maybe that one's like 20K, 30K, so it. That's already like 60-something thousand. Then you do makeup. You will tie gele. Like, those things are expensive and it adds up. So when I'm giving, you know, money towards something that I don't really care about or I can do without, what I'm saying is I'm taking away that resource from something that I actually care about. Wow. So my thing is, you know,
there's an opportunity cost to that.
Yeah, exactly. So spend on the things that you love and cut expenses ruthlessly on the things that you don't, you know, really care about. So I think it's all about prioritizing. I think it's all about, figuring out what your goals are. What do you want your money to do for you? Once you know that, when someone is saying, oh, 35K here, you're like, my guy, I can't afford it because, listen, I have to go on holiday. Well,
I have to achieve
not in
that
these times,
goal.
probably, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I have to achieve that goal. So if I put my money here, it means I will not have enough to put here. It's about setting priorities.
It's very interesting, and that's it. It's like if you fail to plan, or rather, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail.
Yeah.
Exactly. If there is nothing in front of you to work towards, then obviously your money is just going to keep going. So it's all about setting those priorities. So what about investing, though?
I think that now is the time to invest. I know people are, generally scared of the stock market, but I think that especially if you're a young person and money you can afford to forget about.
So long-term
goals. Like
no quick fixes.
5 to 10 years, money you can afford to, forget about for 5 to 10 years. You can invest in the Nigerian stock market. Like,
and prices are
like
now.
Do you know what? Stocks that were trading at certain prices have dropped dramatically.
Yeah.
So I like to say the stock market is ill now. This is a time to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Because, these are things that...
And it will recover.
It will recover eventually. The stock market is only a reflection of what is going on in the economy and people's fears about the economy. So a lot of money has gone out. A lot of foreign investors have pulled out, their money, just waiting to see how, the Nigerian economy recovers. But this is a time to take advantage of it. This is a time to start, talking to a stockbroker, an investment advisor, to say, listen, what stock should I be investing in now?
Yeah.
And the way, like, before we buy a bag or before we go on holiday or buy clothes or whatever, we're like looking on Instagram. I think that people need to start doing research, like things like ProShare, like go start investigating, exactly, banking stocks, things in the manufacturing sector. What's going on? Like, what can I be investing in now? What kind of businesses are they into? Who is earning foreign exchange? Because, that is what the companies that are earning foreign exchange at the moment, because they're exporting, goods. Those are good companies to invest in now.
I think even for those that would probably are watching and saying, well, I don't have enough money to invest. I think that's still another excuse because, like, I love this. I'm sure the mutual fund, where you have some as low as 5,000 naira, and so if you have 5,000, you can put in just 5,000 naira every month, put it away, and then the professionals there, they know the stuff. They know what kind of stocks to invest in for you, and so all you need to do is just give them your money, and they send you returns.
True. Or start investigating yourself. I think that people are too passive when it comes to like their investments. So you hear people say, oh, I bought stocks in 2008 and now I don't even know where it is again. I don't know what house I bought it with.
So if you have
I don't know.
stockbroker,
like, you need to be engaged. Like, your asset is only as good as the income that it can bring in for you. So you have to be mindful about what you're doing. It's like land. Like, if you buy land somewhere and you forget about it, it doesn't matter that you bought land.
Exactly.
If you don't know where it is.
If you don't have the title documents.
If you don't have the title documents, it's the same thing. So I think now is the time. And people don't, because we don't spend enough time researching these things or being on top of the news and what's happening. So people don't know things like the fact that treasury bills they have some of the highest returns at the moment. So now
more than putting your money in the bank.
Like a few months ago, it was like 4%. Now it's like 15, 16%. Like, that is a huge, change. And it is a safe or a relatively safe investment. Like, so people need to be more, like, they need to pay more attention to what is going on.
More now than ever. If you don't do it now, I mean,
you'll never do it.
We're young. There's a lot of information out there. There are a lot of people like yourself, Nimi Akinkugbe, myself, clever girl, talking about these things. And this is just information. I mean, all you need to do is follow on Instagram or go onto someone's website. You know, even all the financial institutions are on social media now, so they're constantly putting out information there.
And do you know the thing? I think that financial institutions, like every financial institution that I speak to, I'm saying, I feel like you're doing a bad job, because one of the most frequent questions that I get, so on this book tour, I've been to Uyo, I've been to Ibadan, I've been to Warri, like I've had several events in Lagos, and what the women always ask me is, what can I invest in? And I'm like, but they're talking about it all day, every day.
So
they're,
maybe
you know, they're
it's the
apparently on
language.
social. Exactly. I think it's the language. I think they're not saying it in a way that's engaging enough for people to understand. Like, so maybe they need to break it down in a notch, or they need to figure out better ways to communicate with their potential audience. Because I hear people, you know, saying things like, I only have 100K. I know it's small, but what can I invest in? And I'm like,
is significant.
do you know that if you work in a financial institution and you have a client that has 100K, that's money. Like, they're not going to see it like, oh, it's just small. But to that person, they're intimidated.
1 million naira, 5 million naira.
Exactly. So for them, it's like only rich people invest. And this small one I have, what can it really do? But it's about consistency. It's about compounding interest. It's about the fact that the assets that you invest in today can appreciate as in value over time. But what are financial institutions, especially in Nigeria, doing to communicate with that audience? How are they engaging, you know, with that audience? These things, I don't know, they're very important.
They should come to us.
Yes, they should come to us so that we can teach them how to, you know, break it down.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about your book. Amazing. I also love the fact that it's not just, okay, you need to budget, you need to, you know.
It's not a how-to.
Exactly. There's a story to it. So can you tell us a little bit about the book?
So it's a fictional story. It's about a Nigerian girl who looks like she has it all, but she has nothing in terms of assets, so she's really broke. And, you know, she figures out when, you know, a few things happen to her, she figures out that she's actually broke, and she even if she has a great salary, she doesn't have anything. So the book basically takes you through the personal finance journeys of her and some of her best friends, Lara, who is an oil and gas executive, Ladu, who is a fabulous housewife, Tammy, who's a fashion designer, and Adeswa, who's a lawyer. So it's a very Nigerian story. It's a very African story, because I thought it was important to put personal finance in a very African context. And so it's a fictional story, but it has smart money lessons at the end of each chapter. So each chapter deals with some personal finance issues that I feel are very pertinent to the Nigerian woman or to the African person. The wealth lessons are actually very relatable to men even, but I was thinking, you know, I was obsessed with Sex and the City, you know, when I was in university, and I wanted something that was like that, where, like, you know, when you watch the series, you're looking at, you feel like you're a New Yorker, because, you know, they're telling you a brunch at Sarah Beth, you can relate. I wanted it to be very Lagos, like, so there are lots of, like, brands, there are lots of Nigerian brands in it, there are lots of Nigerian restaurants in it who have really supported me, you know, in my tour as well. So it's very relatable, and I've been overwhelmed with the response that it has gotten. People sending me DMs every day. Arese, I feel like I'm Zuri. Like, are you writing about my life? You know, people saying that I've helped their marriages. Wow. Like, it's so amazing. I thought that it was going to be the people who, you know, gave me reviews in the book, the business leaders who gave me the reviews in the book, that would be like the high point of, you know, this whole process. But for me, it has been the people, the strangers, the people that I do not know, the thousands of people who have bought the book. When I was writing it, it took me like a year plus to write. Wow. And they said to me, Arese, Nigerians don't read. You're just wasting your time. As in, people are not going to pay 4,900 for a book. But my audience, again, social media, my smart money movement has proved them wrong. People do read, people do care, and especially in these times, I guess people want to learn about money. They want to reframe the way that they think about, you know, their financial future.
So can you tell us some of the financial or personal finance principles that people can learn from the book?
Well, if you buy the book, you learn about, you know, increasing your earning potential. You learn about building an emergency fund. You learn about getting out of debt. You learn about, you know, talking about family finances, which is a conversation I feel like we do not have enough in Africa because we're very superstitious. But yeah, like the book sort of touches on a lot of things, investing, what it really means to be wealthy. Because in Africa, we grew up knowing that we have to be we have to make money to be financially successful. But we're not taught in any formal framework how to keep it or grow it.
All hustlers.
Yeah, like, so it's just like make money, make money, make money. Which is why another question also people have asked me is, why does the main character or and her friends, like, how come they earn a very decent salary? What about the person who is a low-income earner? Like, does this still apply to them? And like I always say, the wealth lessons still apply. But I thought that, you know, that rags to riches story had been told 1,000,000 times. So you see a lot of people who had nothing and then suddenly they hit and they make money. And maybe a few years later,
it's gone.
They don't have anything else.
Because some people think once I make the money, I have arrived, I'll be sorted. Just give me money and don't worry.
Musicians, politicians, people who, you know, get into athletes, like, you know, and then it's gone. But it's because nobody has told the story of when you get to even a middle class level. Because our middle class in Nigeria has grown significantly.
Yeah.
And no one talks about what do you do when you get from that, you know, poor state to making money, even a bit of money, maybe you've not even hit. What do you do? How do you think about wealth? Because it's not about how much you make. It's not about how much is in your bank account. It's about how much you can convert into assets that will provide you with an income in the future. So when we talk about rich people and we're talking about the Forbes list, we're talking about their net worth. But when we're talking about our friends, we're talking about, that guy drives a nice car, or, you know, that girl goes on holiday, or that girl carries a nice bag and she looks nice. We talk about their spending patterns as opposed to their assets, yeah? And so a graduate, you know, comes out of school, you know, gets their first job, and first thing that they're thinking about is, what can I buy? And even when their salary, you know, multiplies, maybe you go from being a youth copper to being, you know, earning 5 times your salary, you're thinking about, how can I look like a banker now? Like, I need to wear, you know, certain suits, so I have to live in a certain area, I have to drive a certain car. That's our mentality.
Yeah.
Because nobody has told us that it is about building assets.
And you start early, so
And
you
you
don't
start
wait till
early.
you have a family or you're in
Exactly.
your 40s, then you're not starting to think.
The way you spend 10 naira is the way you spend 10 million. If you cannot figure out a way to save and invest when you have 10 naira, you will never figure out a way to save and invest when you have 10 million.
Exactly. I mean, we can go on and on and on, but we've unfortunately run out of time. But I know you're on a book tour, so people that want to probably come from one of the tours, what next? Where are you going next?
So there's a whole event schedule on smartmoneyafrica.org.
Okay.
I'm going to Abuja. I'm going to Port Harcourt. We have a few more stops in Lagos, and I'm going to Accra. I'm so excited. But yeah, we're hoping to, you know, expand the tour a bit so that we can go to more cities. But yeah, keep up with us on Instagram, Smart Money Arese, Twitter, same, and keep checking the website, www.smartmoneyafrica.org.
Thank you, Arese.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed our conversations.
Thank you
I
so
love
much.
talking about money. And hopefully we'll have you again on the show.
Yay.
Awesome. Viewers, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to buy a copy of the Smart Money Woman, Arese's details are on the screen. Also, I implore you to go for one of the book tours as well, so you can get a one-on-one and ask her questions. Yes, we're in a recession. Yes, there are lots of problems. Yes, what you have now is not enough to survive, but there's so many opportunities, as we've talked about in the show, that you can also, this is also a good time and the best time for you to save, especially for you to invest. Make sure you make the right choices with your money and be smart. Thank you very much. Until next week, stay blessed.